All right, folks, it's March 9th, 2022. And this is my monthly update on Lance Jochims, my contractor, at least who's supposedly my contractor. Now, just to refresh everybody's memory, the house was supposed to be done sometime in January of last year. And as we all remember, in April of last year, Lance, for reasons that are still unclear, decided to quit the job. Nobody really knows why. The only thing you ever got from Lance is that he was feeling overwhelmed and anxious. I think I have some explanation for that, and I'll try to get to it later in the video. But what we're going to talk about now is one of the four doors. This is the door that goes into the second bedroom. And although it's a little hard to appreciate, you can see how there's a gap here. And as it comes down, the gap narrows. Well, we've known about this problem and the other three doors since December of last year. And Lance told the trim carpenter, Kevin, that he would get replacement doors and fix it. Well, he didn't. And that's just the way it is with Lance. That's his style. Nothing has changed. But what is interesting is that there's a performance standard from the Metropolitan Builders Association, which requires that this gap be 3/16 of an inch or less. And although it's hard to appreciate, it's more than 3/16 of an inch. The other doors, I'll take a peek, also fail to meet that performance standard. If you look at this one, see how the gap is big? And then it goes down and it's narrow or appropriate. And on the top of the ruler, you'll see 1/16. And it's clearly bigger than 3/16, which is the standard. Now, Lance knows this because I let him know. I don't keep it a secret. All I want is the house done. And we're now looking at the master bedroom door, which is also greater than 3/16. Now we have the master bath. And you can see it's narrow down there. It fits, and then it gets wider, and wider. And Kevin tried to fix it. This will be a second time, and once again, it's bigger than 3/16. A little hard to tell, but it's the best I can do. Now, I have been kind enough to send Lance a letter. And in that letter, I include a page out of the Construction Industry Quality Standards, which is the Metropolitan Builders Association, and it's 2021. And on page 20, we have a requirement called interior door margin not parallel to door jamb. And notice how it states 3/16 of an inch. Well, I will show you the letter that I sent Lance yesterday. And there it is to Lance Jochims at Wausau Homes, Waukesha. And it's titled Remaining Issues per Mediation Agreement from November 9th, 2021. Now, one of the things that he's missing, and this doesn't exactly have anything to do with the door, but this is the settlement agreement. And in the settlement agreement, on number 2, it requires Lance to submit a written letter from the siding contractor. I know this is not the door, stating that the siding meets warranty standards. So Lance gets this repeatedly. He has not done anything about it, but that doesn't surprise me. I also talked about number 2, the remaining 4 doors, oh, that's terrible, that in home are not repaired. That's terrible. I should redo it. Per your conversation with trim carpenter Kevin Stahl on December 1st and March 8th, 2022, the doors cannot be adjusted per Kevin and require replacement. The doors do not meet the MBA or Metropolitan Builders Association performance standards of 3/16 of an inch. Kevin states, this is as good as it can get without replacing the door. Now realize that Lance knew the door needed to be replaced back in December of 2021, but didn't do it. And so I sent him, the doors are labeled as the location. I mean, I'm being really nice. So obviously this is a sideways picture, but you can see the ruler, you can see the gap. This is the bedroom number 2. And then if we go down here on the letter, now we have the master bedroom. Notice that it doesn't meet the standard. So I've given him the room location and I've shown him the ruler saying, hey, it doesn't meet the standard. And there's another one. This is the master bath, and you can see that 3/16 would be 1, 2, 3. Well, it's actually 1/4 of an inch, and that's not the standard. So as we go humming along, we have another door, and this is upside down. That says furnace room. But clearly you can see as you look at the ruler here that it's almost 1/2 inch, which is clearly way bigger than 3/16. And then in the same letter, I'm nice enough to put the Metropolitan Builders Association, I quote it. I'm making it as easy for this guy as is humanly possible. I really am. And that I'm being nice. I know I'm not supposed to be nice, but I'm being nice. So, as I said earlier, Lance is the kind of guy who doesn't seem to know how to get the job done. It's been 13 months since the house was supposed to be done, and it's been 9 months since he decided to walk off the job site. I think it's been 9 months. I'm losing track. So as I pointed out, his only explanation last year as to why he left without telling anybody is because he felt overwhelmed. And I suddenly realized, having been in Army aviation, helicopters, is that I think this is just my opinion. I don't know this for a fact. This is just my speculation. But I think Lance suffers from what we call task saturation. Yes, task saturation. And in Army aviation, task saturation was a big deal because if you're flying a helicopter and you've got multiple things to do, you can get overwhelmed or saturated because there's just too much data to process. And this is a big deal in aviation. It's well understood. We train, we deal with this all the time. So imagine you're trying to fly a helicopter, you're being fired at, there's an issue, the aircraft's having some mechanical problem, there's something going on in the back of the aircraft. You can get so overwhelmed trying to fly the helicopter and manage all the other issues or tasks is you can get saturated and overwhelmed and not do any of them particularly well. So we would train repeatedly in the military to define the most important issues, focus on them, and prioritize and decide that, hey, these 3 tasks are mission critical. Flying the aircraft, not hitting the ground, and avoiding gunfire from the ground, because I did a tour in Iraq. So we train repeatedly and are stressed repeatedly where people will purposely try to oversaturate us with tasks. And what it does is help train us so that we get comfortable with the idea of having to prioritize in real time so that we can get the mission accomplished, eliminate the most important tasks, stabilize them, and then go on to the next list of tasks which are not number 1 priority. Well, when Lance told me last year that the reason he left the job site was because he was stressed, it was too much, I now realize that maybe the issue with him is quite genuinely, he can't handle task saturation. And although I don't have a difficulty in that area, 1, it's my personality, and 2, I've been trained to do it in the military. And also, I don't want to sound like a jerk, but this house is not task saturation. There's no lives at stake. We're not going to crash the helicopter. We're not going to get shot out of the sky. So in terms of stress level, there's really not much stress going on. It just isn't that way. But I sometimes forget that other people find some things that are simple in life to be overwhelming. And I don't know if that's true for Lance, but I'm starting to sort of get a sense of what might be the problem. And so I'm bringing this up because I only list 2 issues in my letter to him, because if I actually listed all the issues that are still remaining, and there are others, such as he has to get lien waivers, which is standard. He has to give the 1-year warranty, which is standard. He has to return the keys for all the locks and verify or certify that there are no outstanding keys. That's a security issue and an insurance issue. I realize if I give him more than 2 issues, he may suffer. Okay, the alarm went off on my phone. So my point is that task saturation, in his case, if he's got more than 2 issues, he may be overwhelmed. If he has 3, he definitely will be. If he has 4, he'll be overwhelmed. And I don't want a repeat of last year where he just gets so overwhelmed, this is my opinion, that he walks off the job site. I mean, it's been 13 months since he was supposed to have this job done. Not 3 months, not 1 month, 13 months. So I purposely only give him 2 issues at a time to deal with, because I don't want to give him 3 or 4 and discover that he's task saturated and that he resorts back to, he's just going to leave the job site without telling anybody, without explaining it. And we go back to where we were back in April of last year. It's difficult enough to get a house done a year later. It's even more challenging to have a contractor who appears to be easily task saturated. So that's my 1 month refresh of what's going on. Have gotten a lot done. Gotten the insulation installed, as I mentioned in the past, that was supposed to have been done and was paid for last year. We're getting the painting fixed. We're getting the doors adjusted. We still have 4 doors that need to be adjusted but aren't. But we're making progress. It's just painfully slow. And every one of the subcontractors sort of shrugs their shoulders, and implicit in our conversation is that's just who Lance is. Now understand that Lance has been to the job site since November 9th, mediation, twice. Once he delivered a door that was obviously too large and we had to reorder the door a month and a half later. And the other time he just sort of showed up with his assistant. Not sure why he was here, what he was doing, but he showed up. But he has not been here since that time, since November 9th, 2 visits. It's now March 9th. And when I talk to the subcontractors, none of them are surprised because they've worked with him. His style, according to them, is to maybe show up at their job site once a week. And these are job sites that are currently under construction. So not having him here for months at a time is unusual, unprofessional, and unacceptable, but certainly consistent with who he is. So that's about it. Now, if any of these videos that I do help you, hit the like button. You know, that would be nice. Just hit the like button. If you don't like them, hit the dislike button. But geez, hit a button. My goal is obviously to help other people in the future, whether they have Lance as a builder or not, to sort of share my experience about how it can be challenging to build a house. And it is challenging. And of course, if you have suggestions, put them in the comments. I ask people all the time for how they think I should proceed. And my friends, neighbors, etc. are saying, yes, steady she goes, you're doing a good job. Don't give in, don't bend a knee, don't buckle. Just realize that you're right, you're gonna make it. The house will get done. Now, when will it get done? God, it may be another year. Will we have to, go back to mediation? Oh, there's always a good chance. With Lance, you never know. We have to go to arbitration. With Lance, you never know. It will be interesting. I think he is going to stumble, but I'm doing everything I can to help him not stumble. I want the house done. I want him to be successful. I'm not holding my breath. I simply don't think he has the skill set necessary to do a really good job. It's just not who he is. I mean, I can't do neurosurgery. I'll be honest with you right now. If you ask me to do a craniotomy on somebody, open up their skull, I can't do it. I know I can't. I don't have the skills. If you ask me to do open heart surgery and do a bypass graft, I can't do it. I've seen it done, but don't ask me to do it. I'm just not competent. I'm not trained to do it. If you asked me to fly a Black Hawk, I don't have the skill set to do it. I just don't. It's not who I am. So it's not unique with Lance that someone who's in the building trades doesn't have the skill set to do it well. And my feeling is that Lance may be one of those people. He's kind of the Peter principle. And the Peter principle, if memory serves me right, is you're always one level above your skill set. It's sort of like you were a boss you were a foreman for a small group, and then suddenly you become a foreman for 6 groups. Well, you may not have the skill set to be a foreman for 6 sets of workers, but you're more than capable of doing one. But you're stuck in a position one level above your competence. I think that's what's going on. So I love you all. Hope you're having a good day. You can see the snow is melting. Life is good. We did have a couple inches of snow a few days ago, which was gorgeous. But March is a transitional month, and we'll get there. Pretty soon I'll have the cars out. So I love you all. Hope you're having a great day. Bye-bye.